everybody, this is Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another movie review. This time, my boyfriend threw the terrain, and I watched Kickassia, which was another collaboration in sort of the same vein as Suburban Knights was. And they use a lot of cliches in this film, but I thought that they were lovingly poked and prodded at and not used to the extent that the viewer would just say, oh, we've seen that before. We're bored out of our skulls with that. Please don't overly use that cliche. We've seen it too many times. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, which is in and of itself a cliche. Sorry. Um, I really enjoyed this film. And just the 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 pop culture references involved in it. Mati comes back, and he tries to get Nostalgia Critic to snap out of his power trip, and he's in this M. Bison costume, and that hat was a little bit too big for his head, but the insignia he had in the middle, that was pure genius, because at first I thought I couldn't really make it out, but Thriller to Rain pointed out to me that that was actually a photograph of Nostalgia Critic making a really funny face. Um, he's really good with those expressions. Did you ever notice that? I think he was professionally trained, either that or he was in a theater school somewhere, and he really does a splendid job, I think, and I think they all do. Um, Even if they are amateurs, it doesn't really matter to me. I still think that they're all of them, each and every person who was involved, even those that I really wasn't that familiar with. I just thought that everybody collaborated just fantastically well together, and they did an outstanding job. And Molassia, the country that they made up, the flag, I'm not sure. There was an Arabic country that has those colors, and I can't remember which country it is, and I wish I did. I feel so inadequate. But a lot of what I saw kind of reminded me of Italia a little bit. I think they were kind of poking fun at that, and the the costumes kind of reminded me of cosplay I see for that. I just adored the culture references. Like they had a reference to The Simpsons with it wasn't Maud Flanders that they were referencing, but I forget what character it is. She's a school teacher. It isn't Edna Krabappel, but it's another one of the characters who always says, "Won't somebody think of the children?" I wish I could think of her name. And I'm sorry, but it just passes my memory. Uh, we were just having a good time watching it, and I was mentioning there were some things that I noticed. One of the members shops at thinkgeek.com, man after my own heart. But I've gotten a few things off of thinkgeek.com, and I think that I'm sorry, shameless plug. I really think that they are a terrific company, and they have some really cool clothes that are offered to the like of geeks like us. Like the 8-bit tie that he was wearing. He had two different color ties. I didn't know they made another color. I thought it was only blue because that's the one that they show in the catalog, but I digress. Uh, they had, I didn't know that Nostalgia Critic's brother plays Santa Christ. And I'd always wonder who played that role, and I always loved Santa Christ just because he's a lovable character, and he was poking fun at the whole rising after 3 days, saying like Jesus actually did, and I should be offended being a Christian, but you know what? I'm not. Um, I have seen a lot of movies that like to nudge and rib and riff Christianity, but all in all, I don't really see what there is to be offended about. I just think that it was kind of playfully done and very tasteful, and I really enjoyed that. And I and Spoonie, I just love him when he becomes Doctor Insano. It was very much like the Hulk, and There was a reference to Shakespeare. There was a Gilbert and Sullivan reference. You got my thumbs up there. I love Gilbert and Sullivan. I couldn't believe that Nostalgia Critic actually knew of Gilbert and Sullivan. Yeah, jolly good. But I started singing with them because I know the Three Little Girls from School song, and that's actually from the Mikado. Just a little tidbit, sorry, but there were lots of references to battles, uh, the game Risk, and I think he was. Nostalgia Critic was watching Hitler's speech on TV. I couldn't quite make it out, but it did sound like Hitler's dynamic oratory when he was talking to the troops. Of course, he talks about Nazis, and he says, "Are you Nazis? Are you Nazis?" And I just thought that was funny. Um, it was really well done, and I love to see these guys working together. They really make a great team. They are just stellar. They are astronomical, and I think they are completely in outer orbit, as Judy Jetson would say. Um, what else can I say about Kickassia other than I loved it? Uh, I just love Dr. Sato. I was glad to see him back, and he's just Meshuggah is all get out, and I love him for it. I've always had a thing for mad scientists. I don't know why, but there's just a little something demented and twisted and kind of alluring about the mad scientist type. And I don't know if I said that in my review, Dr. Horrible, or not, but I probably mentioned it. And I don't know. Uh, I'm not sure what else to mention other than I liked all the costumes that they were wearing, and the special effects were done really well. And I was kind of curious as to where it was filmed. I don't know if it was really Colorado outside of Nevada, Reno, Nevada, or not, because it did look like Colorado, though I have never been. I have been to Washington, I have been to Oregon, but I haven't been in Colorado. I haven't been in the Dakotas or in Arizona, and I'm not really sure what it's like there. I've heard it's really flat and there's lots of desert and it's hot. But there's no humidity like there is here in Indiana during the summer, and you can't breathe. But other than that, I really enjoyed the movie, and I think that it really gets high marks in my book. It gets two thumbs up, A plus. I just feel that everybody put their best effort into this, and you can really see the amount of dedication that they put into it. I'm kind of wondering where they got all those costumes, because those costumes were just so awesome. They were really just fantastic and totally wicked. And I really wanted uh, most of those costumes I saw, like the Power Rangers costumes were pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I like that little jab at politics there with Sarah Palin with the reference, and um, I don't know if they were making references to anything else. And oh, uh, President Carter, I thought, oh, you didn't just go there. Oh, if you said that about President Carter to my father, he would disagree heartily, as would I, knowing my history. But I thought that was really funny and ironic, and a lot of the lines I really enjoyed. My favorite line in the whole film was, "I feel like a puppy that just got raped by a bulldozer," and I don't know why, but that line is still making me laugh. Because it was the best line in the whole film. And it is just fantastically funny. I was in hysterics, and during the scene where Santa Christ dies, um, they all try to get everybody's help to bring him back to life. And for those of us who have ever seen Peter Pan the musical, we know that when Tink is about ready to die, or is she's going through the process of dying. Peter comes to the edge of the stage and he says, "Help us, please help us. If you put your heads together and clap and just say, 'I believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies,' you can bring Tink back to life." And you hear everybody say, "I do believe in Santa Christ. I believe in Santa Christ." And you see all these cameos, the obligatory cameos. And there was one guy I thought was pretty neat when he uh, demonstrated how Risk worked. I thought that was pretty spiffy and very clever. And Thriller to Rain and I were talking about. Well, actually, they are going to make a movie about a board game. Believe it or not, it's called Battleship. Shock! Hollywood is really running out of ideas. Oh, shaw. But I really enjoyed watching it with him, and it was more fun actually watching it with somebody rather than by myself, because I think alone it wouldn't have been so funny or entertaining. And I'm looking forward to what this team might have involved in the future, and who knows, maybe I'll be a cameo. I think that would be really interesting. I've never cameoed in anything, and I would be completely floored, and you could knock me over with a feather if you did. And I couldn't possibly give you enough gratitude, but I would only grovel at your feet and I would say, "I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy." That's all I could say, because it's true. I am not worthy. But that's about all I have to say about Kickassia, and it did indeed kick ass. Yee! 2 thumbs way up and 4 stars from me.